Hello, I'm Dilek Tuna. Welcome to another episode of Context. Today we take a closer look at a re-emerging heartland theory with the Caspian region right at the crossroads. As strategic geographers debate about who controls Eurasia, therefore arguably controls the entire world, has remained for more than a century. Today, in the era of renewed multipolarity, that debate is no longer theoretical. The greater Caspian region, spanning Central Asia and the South Caucasus, is once again in sharp focus. As China extends its Belt and Road ambitions and Russia seeks to hold on to old spheres of influence, the West is being urged to offer a coherent, competitive version for the region. Former UK Ambassador to Azerbaijan, James Sharp, recently underscored this strategic moment, saying Eurasia and heartland theory are back. The West needs to ensure that history pivots in its direction. So what's at stake for the region? Can it preserve freedom of manoeuvre amid intensifying great power rivalry? And what role can energy, trade corridors and diplomacy play in shaping a more independent, more connected Caspian? Joining me today to discuss are Professor Yashar Sarı, Director of Haydar Aliyev Center for Eurasian Studies at Ibn Khaldun University. A warm welcome to you, Professor. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
Now, to start, let's set the scene here. Why is the Greater Caspian region so strategically important at this moment in global affairs?
First thing is if you start from the geopolitical theories like the Mackinder, which is talking about the heartland, at the beginning of the 20th centuries, that theory also closely related the Caspian region, actually from the northern part of the Black Sea and also northern Caucasus and the Caspian. Then, after the Soviet Union collapse, this time Zbigniew Brzezinski developed the approaches which he defined the Eurasian chessboard. He named that one as basically the competition happening around the Caspian as base. So, what is that? Today also we see that war in Ukraine have impact on the strategic value of the Caspian Basin, actually increase. And also the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative make the Caspian region, especially Azerbaijan and the Caucasus, as an important connection point between the East and West. We see this development also European side. In the Western side, they developed the Global Gateway project to funding supporting the infrastructure project, which is connecting West to East. So that way, the Caspian, because of its both geographical location as well as what it has, natural resources, make the Caspian as an important place in this competition.
Okay, and James Sharp makes a strong case that the heartland theory is back. Do you agree? And if so, who are the new key players vying for influence?
Okay, so heartland theory is the part of the Mackinder's explanation of the imperial competition, beginning of the 20th century. But today what we see is that this imperial competition is gone. So this is a different type of the struggle which we see. I agree with him, yes, the Caspian importance is increasing. The value of the Caspian region, both location as well as the resources which Caspian has, is important. But this time we see the local actors have more voice and more choice in that sense. Why? Because the international system itself is changing. International system is moving from unipolar system to multipolar plus multi-center international system. And one of the important connective point is the Caspian region, For that reason, both Turkey, Azerbaijan, and the other countries will benefit from these changes because of both China through its own Belt Road Initiative project and the European Union, which has the Global Gateway project, need to have the close relation, close connection with the countries which is located in the region.
Okay, and China's Belt and Road Initiative has made serious inroads in Central Asia. Is the middle corridor linking China to Europe via the South Caucasus a counterbalance or just a reshaping of dependency?
Of course, when Chinese President Xi Jinping announced the Belt and Road Initiative in 2013 at the Nazarbayev University in Astana, Kazakhstan, he already clearly see that Central Asia and the Caucasus is the transporting the Chinese goods to other places. But especially after the starting war in Ukraine, the northern corridor is closed. So because of the European cut their economic relation with Russia, so that way the middle corridor, which is the passing through Central Asian countries and the Caucasus to Europe, become the more important. If you look at the last 2-3 years trade statistic, you can see that this trade through middle corridor is triple, quadruple in that sense. So that's make the more important this middle corridor than the other places. Middle corridor also carrying the Chinese product from the Arctic to or the other way is middle corridor is the shortest way. If there is a security and stability in the region, then the Chinese can sell their product. Similar things we can see for European countries too. For that reason, European countries start investing or providing loans and credit to infrastructure project, and we see the high-level EU representatives visiting both Azerbaijan and the Central Asian countries, trying to make the agreement with these countries. And they emphasize on the several things: transportation connectivity, energy connectivity, and digital connectivity. In that sense, we can say that currently both Caucasus and Central Asia become important place for this developments.
Okay, and to what extent are countries like Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan truly multi-aligned? And do they have the space to maneuver between China, Russia, and the West?
I mean, of course, all these countries, if you look at the foreign policy concepts, they mention about the multi-vectoral foreign policy. So they emphasize on this multi-vectorality. But the problem is because of they have historically connected with Russia, and China is a growing emerging power, economically very powerful, and Europeans and other Western, especially United States, trying to enter the region. So it's make these countries having the opportunity balancing act. But the problem is if they try to individual state, if they try to do balancing act, that have the limited impact to those big power. But if they act together, both Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, and we should include Turkey too, they are part of the organization of the Turkic state. They are member of this organization. If they act together and bargain with China, Russia, and the other big actors, in European Union and the United States, then they have the more beneficial position. If they act the individual state, they have limited one, and they may lose their multi-vector foreign policy, and within a certain time period become dependent on one of the big actors, especially China, in that sense, economically.
Okay. All right, let's talk about energy now briefly, Professor. As Europe seeks to reduce reliance on Russian gas, could the southern gas corridor from Azerbaijan be expanded? And is there political will for that in Brussels?
I mean, of course, in Brussels, we have the double policies. Double policies means that one, European Union and generally wants to develop this relation because of they need energy resources, and already Azerbaijan through TANAP is increasing its capacity and providing some oil and natural gas to European countries. Already Kazakhstan through Aktau to Baku transferring the Kazakh oil, and limited number, but still started Turkmenistan natural gas passing very limited number passing to Azerbaijan and then going to Europe. So this is this capacity can be increased.
Okay.
European, but the second thing is as we know, the France position related the conflict in the Caucasus irritate the Azerbaijan government, and because of the France supporting militarily supporting to Armenia, making the problematic relation. But in generally, European Union countries depend on the alternative energy resources. That is the mainly can come to from this Caspian basin. 20 years ago, there was a project which is called the Nabucco project, transferring the Caspian-based natural gas to European countries. But unfortunately, disagreement among the European countries, and this project has died. But recently, we see European delegation visiting Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, and started talking about the Trans-Caspian pipeline system. That's giving kind of light to start this project again. So in that sense, if European wants to have the alternative energy resources, has to develop very close relation Azerbaijan and other Caspian Basin countries.
Okay, so when you mentioned double policies there, was it, you named France in particular, is it France that stands against bringing gas from the Caspian Basin? Is that what you meant?
No. It's not the France supporting the Armenia, of course, and putting Azerbaijan in difficult condition.
Okay.
Because of the supporting Armenia militarily, giving the weapons and other things. Otherwise, of course, for France, is the energy resources, they are mainly depends on the nuclear energy, because its own energies, electricity produced 80% from the nuclear power plant. And France, for that reason, wants to develop very close relation with Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, because of they have uranium, so they want to import uranium from these countries. Those other countries depends on the more natural gas, and that can come to Azerbaijan as well as the Turkmenistan. For that reason, the European other countries, especially Germany and the other close to Germany, those countries have the natural resources, and already Italy and the southern European country having the TANAP and TAPI, so they are getting the Azerbaijan natural gas using. So for concluding, so France is not against to having this natural gas and the oil coming from the Caspian Basin, but because of their internal politics, because of they have very close relation, and there is an Armenian diaspora there, having impact on the French politics, both internal and the foreign policy.
Okay, all right. Now, China's grip on critical minerals has been a pressure point for the West. Can the Caspian region offer an alternative, and what would it take to unlock that potential?
So precious materials, some of the Central Asian countries having those precious material, but we don't know exactly what kind the level of the reserve. But already China itself is the rich in this rare minerals in that sense. For that reason, European countries, the last European Union summit with the Central Asian countries happened in April 2025. They already talk about, and the European Union planning to invest the rare minerals, which is Central Asian countries have in their own territory. So we don't know exactly can be fully alternative to Chinese minerals resources or not. We don't have that clear reserve numbers. But we know that the Central Asian countries have a certain level which attract the attention and investment of the European countries. And one reason why the last summit happened between Central Asian countries and the EU is EU see that is an alternative to the Chinese rare minerals.
Okay, now let's move on to Tukia. What role does Tukia play here, especially with the organisation of Turkic states gaining visibility? Is it carving out a leadership role in the region?
I mean, first, we need to emphasize that organization of the Turkic state is Turkey is the biggest and the biggest country in the organization, but this organization established altogether. So there is no one leading country. So Azerbaijan is a very important country within this system. Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan too. Why is this organization important? This organization has the vision. This is the 2040 vision, 8 different subtopics, and the biggest issue which is emphasized this vision is the economic integration among these countries. How Turkey can play a role? Because of the economically biggest country within this organization is Turkey, and Turkey have a very strategic position, which is the mentioned this Heartland theory. Turkey can play role to connecting the Caucasus and Central Asia, or we can say Caspian basin countries, to the West and to the Middle East. And that way, Turkey is the very important actors, not economically, but politically, to connecting these countries to more open world system. Second thing is Turkey have in a certain level, Turkey has the technological advantage certain area that can be shared with the know-how, shared with the Caspian basin countries or the member of the OTC. So, and that way Turkey can play the important role. But as we know, those countries, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, can also play important role to connecting Turkey with the East. As we know already, the world international system centers moving from the Atlantic to Asia Pacific. The best way and the easiest way to reaching the Asia Pacific countries is the through Caucasus and Central Asia for Turkey.
Okay, and there's concern about Chinese and Russian dominance in digital infrastructure and information spaces. Is the West doing enough to offer credible alternatives in areas like telecoms, media, or education?
I mean, currently the West is the dominant power in these technologies. I mean, the communication technologies, all the social media, or the artificial intelligence research or companies, if you look the list, most of them either the American or the Chinese. The European is not in that area. We see the technologically two countries competing, United States and China, and of course China is the dominant. The last several years make a huge step to being a leading forces on the artificial intelligence. In that sense, this competition, those, I would say, the Tukia or Azerbaijan and the Central Asian countries, or a member of the organization of Turkic state, should start developing their own the artificial intelligence cooperation and the system. Otherwise, these countries become totally dependent on the China and the United States. I don't think Russia had a certain project, but I don't think Russia is the leading country on this field. So the main concern for the member of the organization of the Turkic state are the China and the United States.
Okay.
And they already developed a policy. China has a Silk Road, digital Silk Road, which is trying to become the dominant forces in this field in Central Asia and the Caucasus too.
Okay. Now, beyond economic levers, what forms of soft power could help the West build influence in the region? Language, universities, media partnerships?
Okay, if you look at today, the best universities in Caucasus, in Azerbaijan, in Central Asia, we see that these universities using the English language in the classroom. So that is the language is one of the most powerful soft power element. Mm-hmm. So in other university in Azerbaijan, Nazarbayev University in Kazakhstan, the World Economy and Diplomacy University in Uzbekistan, OSCE Academy in Kyrgyzstan, you can see that they are using English language in the classroom. So that is already we see their influence. The second influence is the long time the European or Western, we should include Europe and the United States altogether, trying to impose or promote their values, their principles, which they consider as the universal values to the region. If you look at the young generation, those who educated the universities which I mentioned, we see that they already accepted that. This third one is when we look at the young generation, if you ask them the question in similar condition in Turkey too, where you want to live or educate, most of them will say either Europe or the United States. So this is also showing the soft power influence. Joseph Nye, the late Harvard professor, mentioned about, yes, soft power is important, but the world is moving from soft power influence to more smart power. So we see that smart power influence in the region is very influential in that sense.
Okay, and when we say smart power, we're talking about having a good grip or a good hold on soft power, right?
Definitely. The smart power basically attract the attention of the people, or the young people especially. To the values and principle is yours. And that way, without really spending effort, you can attract their attention. They demand assistance, or they demand your values more than you promote. That way, smart power is also, you can use the different places.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and finally, Professor, what do the countries of the Greater Caspian region themselves want, and do they see multipolarity as a threat or an opportunity to redefine their global roles?
So first, let's clear that unipolar and bipolar systems, which we had is creating opportunity to dominate one forces. Multipolar world is the preferable, but if multipolar system is increasing the sometimes multipolar system increasing the local conflict, local wars, that is the dangerous part. But normally, like the countries in Caucasus, in Central Asia, or the member of the Organization of Turkic State prefer multipolar system, but the multipolar system can give the opportunity to regional alliances, like or regional institutions, organizations to emerge, like the Organization of Turkic State. In that sense, multipolar world is the beneficial. But if multipolar world is increasing potential conflict or war in the region, of course, that is the problematic area. How these countries or state in the region deal with the multipolar condition, act together under the one institution, Organization of Turkic State, even though it's established based on identity, collective identity, but right now the member states have the mutual and the common interest, as well as the collective security system that will be, they realize that these will benefit all the members. So this is a kind of condition of the win-win condition.
Okay, Professor, thank you so much for joining us today on Context. We appreciate your insights and your analysis.
Thank you for inviting me. Have a nice program.
Thank you. Now, in a region long seen as a bridge between East and West, the stakes today are rising once again. The Greater Caspian is more than a transit zone. It is a testing ground for multipolar strategy, energy, politics and sovereignty in a shifting world order. The question now is not just who courts the region, but how the region defines its own path forward. That's Context. I'm Dilek Tuna. Thank you for watching.